Feedback echoes are nothing inherently new, but what is new in Recirculate is the ability to mess around really creatively within the feedback loop. Check out this lead guitar sound. It's pretty sophisticated, but fun and simple to set up. Now, at the heart of Recirculate, we have this big graph where we set our initial delay time and then the repeats that happen in the feedback loop. We can also get to them over here, and I'm going to unlink the two channels so that we can set left and right separately. Now, we can drag these over here, and they'll snap based on note values or dotted or triplet values, whatever you have set, or you can have it set to sync to a different tempo or just work freely in milliseconds. And I'm going to set this one to dotted eighth note, and you see that reflected over there. And I'll set the other side to maybe quarter notes. And you can see that over here. Now we can also set with these drop-down menus, and we can just slide freely with our mouse as well to get in between. But I'll set this back to dotted eighths to start with. And here on the blue side, we set the feedback time and we set the feedback level there, but we can also easily just drag these up and down for level and left and right. So let's see where we're at just with this. Here again, we can link or unlink the two sides. So these are spaced pretty far apart, and that's fine for now, because the next thing I want to do is set the behavior here to granular. Now, when we do this, you'll notice that in the sound stage, we get the spray and size control here, and they're tied to the granular settings. And with spray, it sets the amount of randomization in this grain selection. The higher we dial this up, the more it jumps around and gives that granular quality. And it's tied to size here. When we have really small grains, it can be noisy. And as we dial this up, we get more discernible chunks of the audio. So let's dial this in. I don't want it to jump around too much. Really lovely diffuse quality like that. Yeah, you can hear the grains breaking up. Yeah, I definitely want it more diffuse. So we have the feedback level here, and we have an overall wet control. I'm going to leave it fairly wet for the moment because we're going to use ducking in a moment to control it. Now, the filter is also a really powerful, unique aspect in Recirculate. We turn it on or off, and rather than just a simple high pass and low pass like we get in a lot of other delay plugins, we can choose what we want to have happening here. So when we're in slope mode, we get a 1-pole 6 dB per octave slope filter node that morphs all the way up to a 3-pole filter with an 18 dB per octave slope. You can see that happening. We can change the 2 points on here independently. Now we've got a resonant peak, which will add resonances by creating sharp peaks. And again, you can set these by dialing this up. So there's a nice resonant peak, and I'll set this one as well. You can get something like that if you want. And you can move the whole range. We can create a notch. So you can have nice deep notches, as deep or shallow as you want. And we have a combo mode, but before I get to that, I want to show you scoop, which is similar, but without the filtering on either end. It's very powerful. I'm going to go for combo at the moment, where we can have resonant peak or some soft notching. It combines the best of both. And you can have a narrow range, depending how dense you want your repeats to sound. Nice and thick and low. Something like that, I think. Now, the dynamic section is really powerful as well. We have transient control, which I've never seen before in a delay plugin, and it's fantastic. We can go into positive values to get really sharp transients and then control the length of the transient for a very plucky sound. But in this case, I want to go negative to emphasize the sustain, to kind of smear the delays, the echoes. And I'm going to bring the feedback up. We can compress over here. Simple one knob compression or gating. But ducking is where it gets really interesting. So we can have things kind of messy on their own, but then have it just kind of bloom in the holes. So depending how much you want to let through while the guitar is playing, you can set that there. And we have drive, which again is nothing new in delay plugins, but we've got different parameters here for the quality of the drive that we want. I'm going to go with hot. And we can even add in noise, which is kind of interesting. Although I don't think I want it on this particular sound. We can dial some of this in on the dry sound. So here I'm getting the filter and the grains applying to the dry sound. We can narrow the width if you want to go down to mono, and we can enhance it here in the soundstage section. It adds a bit of extra delay between the left and right channels. It increases the diffusion. And we have crossfeed if you want to feed left into right and vice versa. And then we can add reverb with a customizable decay. So let's hear a let in context. Here it is bypassed. A really characterful, unique, kind of pale in tone to this guitar. I can increase the ducking. Here I've got this on a Rhodes with a really unique bloom. I've got the echoes set to different times on left and right. I'm using the ping pong mode, which gives us modulation on the repeats. We can set the speed and the depth. And I'm using a lot of drive and I'm adding noise in, combined with unique filter shapes and some ducking, and again emphasizing the sustain portion of the signal. Gives us a nice unique bloom.